YouTube. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, good evening, whichever, depending on where you are, I guess. Hope everybody is taking it easy. It's not that it is easy, as we know. Trying your best to remain level-headed and patient with yourself, patient with your process, patient with how things are unfolding in and for you on this journey that for sure is probably more than a little bit scary, for sure. I want to go into a message that I had to talk about yesterday, and we will see where this takes me because there's different pieces to it, and I hope that it all makes sense. So the first thing that I want to read is these Mariah Carey lyrics. I actually know this song and it got brought up today, and I'm like, you know what? I want to read this on live. I don't know if everybody knows these lyrics, but so it is Mariah. This is a song called by Mariah Carey called Hero. And the lyrics say, there's a hero. If you look inside your heart, you don't have to be afraid of what you are. There's an answer if you reach into your soul, and the sorrow that you know will melt away. And then the chorus says, and then a hero comes along with the strength to carry on, and you cast your fears aside, and you know you can survive. And when you feel like hope is gone, look inside you and be strong, and you'll finally see the truth that a hero lies in you. And then the second verse says, it's a long road when you face the world alone. No one reaches out a hand for you to hold. You can find love if you search within yourself, and that emptiness you felt will disappear. And then the third verse says, Lord knows dreams are hard to follow, but don't let anyone tear them away. Hold on, there will be tomorrow. In time, you'll find the way. And then I just want to read the chorus again that says, and then a hero comes along with the strength to carry on, and you cast your fears aside, and you know you can survive. So when you feel like hope is gone, look inside you and be strong, and you'll finally see the truth that a hero lies in you. I think these lyrics are extremely perfect for what it is we're facing at this time. I know it is on point for me. The relationship, my spiritual relationship, I've constantly said it's my spiritual relationship that's made me as tough, that's encouraged me through this entire thing, to be honest with you. It's gotten me through. It's been the reason I haven't given up. And it's guided me through in learning lessons, but ultimately, it was me that had to take action. It was me that had to do a lot of the heavy lifting, of grooming myself mentally, of picking myself back up, of always taking the next step, of figuring out what the solutions are without waiting to be told. I had to make all my mistakes. I had to learn from the mistakes that I was making. I had to be aware. I have to still continue to be patient with the situation. Like, it's been on and on. I think what it just really has boiled down to is me understanding that no one is necessarily coming to save me. Like, things are gonna be hard, And just because things are so difficult does not mean that God is not present or God has turned her back. Give me a second. Yeah, so I'm going to talk about today spiritual warfare because that is what we're in. Now, I've heard about this growing up. I've seen people in my family deal with things like this. Maybe not battles like gang stalking, but deal with spiritual warfare. And I've been very young to where, or when I was a child, so I don't know the details of what people were going through. People didn't, adults don't really tell children culturally what's going on. They kind of keep that stuff away from us, but I've seen a lot of the same kind of behaviors that I now have. I've seen that in my childhood, and especially the part about, the prayer warrior part. So it's not so much something that I'm seeing for the first time or something that I'm getting acquainted with. It's almost like the way I feel is like someone passed the torch. So I understand it. This is what I want to talk about today anyway. So I want to kind of talk about a sequence of events that will happen. And I was prompted to talk about this. I posted in my community section where there's a clip on this page that I follow on you or this channel I subscribe to on YouTube, where they basically talk about like exposing the industry, exposing Hollywood. It's one of these like conspiracy theory pages. And one of the things that they posted was with Kanye West. And in the beginning of all of that, Kanye was very much like very Christian. And, everybody knows he made the album Jesus Walks. He made Jesus is King. He did all of this stuff, very spiritual, very religious, always pushing his beliefs first. And then you could slowly see, and then, the breaking up of very critical relationships for him, like relationships with Beyonce, Jay-Z, certain people, him having separations, him getting with certain people, marrying certain people, and then his life coming undone. And then, I don't know if I think I'm positive there must be spiritual people out there that kind of like can sense the same thing that I was sensing when I was seeing all of that. I just knew this was spiritual warfare. And I don't mean like anything that I'm going through or us as TIs are going through. I'm talking about heavy spiritual warfare. Like for me, I always say like I'm nervous. Like if I were to be a star and make it into Hollywood, I feel like that's some of the worst witchcraft. I feel like that's some of that, and presidential witchcraft is like the heaviest work that a person can be under. I don't feel like people that want to be like rappers or actors or singers, I'm just like good luck. I would find it very difficult myself if that were my path to walk. I think that there are a lot of people, most people would say like they would love to make it big like that, and I just know that, like, I'm not saying I'm guessing, I'm not saying I think, I'm not saying I feel. I'm telling you, I know that they save the biggest demonic presences for Hollywood. Like that's where, and politics, that's really where it's extremely scary. If you are a TI right now and you're going through this, multiply this by like 10,000. I feel like that's what Hollywood is like. I feel like Hollywood is very, very, very scary. It's very dark. So I feel like if there are people who had some sort of sense of it, they just knew what Kanye was going through was just heavier than regular people would go through. And he went through all of that, and he came out and he was saying things like, I'm a god. And it's easy for the first opinion to be like, that's blasphemous. What is he talking about? He's worshiping the devil, etc., etc. But I get what he means by that. What he means by that is he called on God and didn't see, or he called on Jesus and then didn't see the kind of results that he would have wanted, Knox, and didn't see the kind of results that he would have wanted or expected. And he realized that he had to take action on his own in order to change his circumstances. So him coming out of that heavy battle, he's like, I had to do it because God didn't come, so I had to do it. So now I'm telling you that I am a God. Because the kind of things that he had to battle and come out of, and he landed on his feet. Let me explain what that means. People that in Hollywood, when you don't cooperate, you pass away. Like, you go completely bankrupt. Like, they don't just make a little example, they make a big example. And it could be Hollywood or otherwise. It could be in secret societies, it could be any people who don't listen, who don't fall in line. They get rid of you. They show you. The first example is a family member passes away. So the first thing is, did you sacrifice this family member to get to where you had to go? Or did they want you to sign something and you didn't sign it, and now family members start passing away to say, hey, you gotta sign this. You gotta work with us. And when the family members don't get your attention and you're still on your crusade, then they're gonna block your path in your work. You're gonna end up in accidents. You're gonna end up arrested. You're gonna get canceled by the media. A lot of things are gonna happen. And depending on what the agenda is, maybe you might not make it. So it stands to be understood. Hold on, I gotta burn some stage. My cat's acting up. Give me a second here. Can I sit next to you, please? Can we move over? No? As I was saying, my cat does not want to move over. Anybody who owns a cat, they don't move over. They don't make space for you. Okay, we're gonna sit next to each other, or what's gonna happen here? He's gotten comfortable on my chair. Anyway, so thank you. They make sure that you understand your place and you stay in line. And they do it in such a way where it is so scary. It is with such brute force that you don't want to step out of line ever again. So right around the time Kanye was talking about how Kris Jenner put him in a 50-50 hold in a mental facility and whatever, that was, I don't even think he was in the hospital. I don't think he was in a mental facility. I think they put him somewhere remote. I think he was not even being guarded by, you have to understand, when you're under that kind of possession, they drain your body of energy. You do not have energy to move. You don't have energy to defend yourself, to fight back. They take away defenses from you. They take away people from you. You realize very quickly everybody around you has been a handler, people to suggest things, people to all keep repeating the same things. It's been a whole bunch of, give me a second here again. Sorry, I didn't even realize my mic was muted. As I was saying, let me repeat from when I sat down. If you have too much fame and you have too much influence, the people cannot just allow you to say whatever you want to say. Getting on a platform and exposing things and making people think for themselves, and that's dangerous. That is undoing the work that people have spent a lot of time and a lot of money to create a lot of illusions to make things look a particular way. So with Kanye West coming and pushing a Christian agenda with such a large platform and so much influence, and then to take it a step back, Kanye West is one of those very, very, very unique artists who can reach every single demographic, from corporate people, black people, urban people, rich people, poor people, white people, black people. At the time he dropped one of his albums, I worked in an office, I was the only black person there, and all of them were playing that album. Like, from the older people in the office to like the younger people, like everybody, like they were talking about it, like when it came out. Everybody loves Kanye West because he's just so universally relatable. That is a very juicy prospect to want to have control over. Somebody who is relatable to all people, somebody who can fit in every room. There are people who can speak very well to one demographic. There are people who maybe can cross between a couple. Maybe it's not so much like a culture or so much like a race, but it's a socioeconomic thing. They can speak to one socioeconomic group. And there are people who can be with the president today. Jay-Z doesn't even have that. There are people who can, I mean, he's still in certain rooms because of his wallet, but he doesn't have it. There are some people that don't need a wallet to do it. There are some people that are very smart, they're very intelligent, but they're also very relatable. And they don't present in such a way where, okay, Kanye West will talk about, say, designer, but he doesn't talk about designer in a way that makes people who don't own designer feel alienated from him. He shows up in a t-shirt, sweatpants, shoes, that has no label. He's completely relatable to everyone. He's like somebody that everyone could be friends with. And he has an aura of authenticity on him. And he just says whatever he wants to, and he can get away with it, which is something that not a lot of people can do. He just says any kind of thing, and his fans still are okay with it. He has a massive fan base. He will continue to grow and expand. That in and of itself is a gift. That is the kind of person that you want. So when you look at two sides, two opposing teams, looking for people to be on their teams, there are some people that are more valuable than other people. Some people with their abilities, their light, whatever they have on them, it makes it very attractive. So both sides are gonna go to war for that territory. So what I mean by that, I've talked about the art of war before and conquering ground that makes sense. Fighting for something that is worth fighting for. The unfortunate truth is, for some people, what they offer is not worthy of putting up a big fight. Not because they're not valuable as a human being, but they don't invest in themselves. This is not extremely fertile ground. A lot of people, easily manipulated, always following someone else's agenda, doing as they're told, afraid to be themselves, not growing, not cultivating, not fixing, not assessing, not grooming their character, themselves spiritually, stagnancy, the same age spiritually an entire lifetime, and they come another lifetime and they stay this age again, they learn nothing. You know, lighter energies operate from intelligence. It is the difference between looking at a street gang, how a street gang would do something, and how a government like office would do something at the highest level. One would spend a lot of time in research, development, testing, implementing, and so the actual time of execution is this short, because this amount of time that they've spent in research and development makes this execution guaranteed, almost guaranteed, like very little room for failure. And then there's something like a street gang that's gonna use brute force and be obvious, and it's what I describe as being flat-footed and loud and bumping into things on your way. And if you have a very elegant prey, if you're preying on an energy that is very intelligent, that sees you in their peripheral vision before you even come, they see you in the corner of their eye. And before they've even come here, they've already realized their value because they're not stupid. So they know that these kind of things are gonna come. These kind of energies, half the time, are not even gonna show you that they're smart. They're not even gonna show you that they're aware. And they already know how to deal with that. So it's like when you're in a situation with two different sides, that's how I see dark entities. I see them more like street gang type of mentality, and I see light energies kind of as very intelligent, very strategic. Light energies don't really go to war. I'm not saying that they're not gonna protect everyone. I'm not saying when you call, they're not gonna come. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that they don't fight with the same tenacity, in my humble opinion, for every single energy, every single consciousness, every single person. There are some people who have something on them, something with them that is really worth protecting, because this would be a huge loss. I think people like Kanye West would be a huge loss if he were to be lost completely. When you're in somebody like Kanye West's shoes, let me take a step back. There are certain rappers, certain artists, I'm not gonna make it just rap, there are certain artists, before they even came on the scene, they already signed up and signed their soul away, and they don't promote anything good. They're coming already from a culture of like not promoting anything good. This is an energy. Once you get into that industry, you're gonna be a slave. Like, it is what it is. Not because energies don't want to fight for you. They would love to have you with your info, but you're not gonna call on God. And are you gonna have the commitment that after you come on board that you're gonna stay here, that you're not gonna be easily swayed? Like, it's like a soul thing. Like, it's like they know you on a soul level. Like, this is not your first lifetime. So you have people like Kanye West that come in and right from the get-go, already different. The first, I don't know if it's the first album, College Dropout, already it's like, oh, a black man who's educated. Then he's very artistic. He's very intelligent. The lyrics make you think, make you pause. He is strategic about the way he works, who he works with, and he works hard. And when he finally gets on his platform, he talks about his spiritual beliefs. That means a lot to him. It is never cool to talk about God. It is never cool to worship God. It has been orchestrated that way. So he comes on and he's already going to bat against. This means in order for you to drop a whole album called Jesus Walks, to do that, you had to go through a lot of executives that said, no, it's not gonna sell, it's not gonna do well. We have numbers from other people who tried it, etc. You have a whole bunch of people discouraging you. And you're going to override everybody, possibly use money from your pocket, And it's gonna drop and it's gonna be a slam dunk, and you have to look at them in their face and be like, I told you I could do whatever I want. I told you. And people will say, and he pushes the limits, and oh, Kanye, are you scared of this? And this was in the clip too. Kanye, are you scared of this? He's like, I'm only scared of my father. And for someone who knows, let me kind of describe the way this works as far as like spiritual relationships. Everybody's relationship is going to be a little bit different, but I'm just going to speak from like what I know. As you walk through life, there are things that keep happening in your life that indicate to you that God is real. God is real. God is present in your life. God shows up for you. And it's like every time. And it's not about, I prayed and this happened for me. It's not about that. It's about feeling God's presence. And when you feel presence of light beings, you're feeling love. You're really just feeling love. It is important to know what it feels like to feel love, to be able to feel it. If you have no idea what this feels like, if you've never even experienced it for yourself or given it yourself, then you don't know what that vibration feels like. So you have to find a way to feel unconditional love first. Unconditional love is not the same as feeling love for another person. It's not the same as loving a pet or loving a child. This is like a universal version of love. This is a purity of spirit. This is not something you can fake. This is not something that the scientists can say, well, let's try to create this condition so someone can artificially feel it so that we can evolve and we can. It doesn't work that way, because you know this is how human beings, their brains want to work. It doesn't work that way. It is a vibration. A vibration must be real. It must be real. You must embody the spirit of purity. Purity of spirit. Love of humankind at large. You have to embody that already. Most people, I think, are born with that, to be honest with you. But I'm no expert on if it can, I couldn't say. Once you are already feeling the presence of God, usually people who feel this are not necessarily people who are constantly going in the spirit and asking God, can you help me with this? Can you do this? Can I have this? Can I have... Usually people who feel the presence of God are saying, first of all, thank you. They're saying thank you all the time. But secondly, people like that are just more, they want to keep feeling it. It's like somebody who's really in love with you versus somebody who, it's not that they don't love you, but they may not know what love is as they go along a relationship. Someone who's truly, truly, truly in love with you wants the best for you. They keep talking to you. They want to spend time with you. They just want to be in your presence. They want to know more about you. It's all about you. The love that they have is about you. And then there's people who, let's say they just don't know what love is, or society has told them what being in a relationship is. They want to take pictures, post it on social media. They want it to look a certain way. It's not so much a focus on the relationship and how it will grow and our spiritual connection and development. It's not about that. It's really about the look. It's really about how does this serve them. So it's they're there to take. When you have a relationship that you cultivate with the spirit, this is a relationship about feeling the spirit, really. It's about, it's a fascination a lot of the times to know that the spirit's actually there. It's a feeling that spirit gives you that makes you feel very special. Because first of all, you feel it is such an honor for a spirit to take you under their wing. Some people work with spirits. They find a spirit, they petition a spirit, they approach the spirit, etc. They want to work with the spirit. It could possibly work. They give, their offerings. It's a religious relationship. It's very formal. And then some people, spirit seeks them out. They're chosen by the spirit, and the spirit will not give up on them. When they're chosen by this spirit grooms them sometimes, even without them knowing. It's like any other relationship. So in this relationship is very personal. In this relationship, the spirit is very committed to letting you know that how important you are, that you are loved, that you are appreciated. It will assist you. It will guide you on not just the things that are important to you, but it will let you know that these things that you're picking up here are beneath you. It will train you. It will open your eyes. And whether or not we believe in it, all of us know when we see people, we use the word lucky. The word lucky, to me, when I see the way people use it, lucky seems to me like something that people, it's like a once in a while type of thing. For some people, it's like, oh, you're lucky. Some people live in the vibration of what other people call lucky. This is the norm because of their spirit guides, because of their connection, because of the anointing on their life. You understand what I'm saying? So you look at situations like Kanye West, right? And you can tell that he was in love with God. And he says things like, my father. And there's some people, it's like, you have to understand, by the time somebody comes to the point of bragging about God like that in any room and no one can tell them anything about it, they already carry the energy of this spirit. Like, the love affair is far too gone. This is a bond that you build in the same way that you build bonds with your parents or other human beings. You build this bond with spirit. It's a soul connection now. It's a soul tie to the spirit. It's a marriage in the spirit that was not forced, that two people, two consciousnesses came together on agreement that they would like to be united. This agreement, to me, in my opinion, is one of the strongest ones, because this is built on love. This is built on loyalty. This is built on, when people are in those relationships, they're saying to the spirit, I never want you to leave. I give my life to you, whatever you need from me. And the spirit is affirming the same thing, whether or not they can hear it. Spirit is saying the same. And I talk about the fact that spirit is a consciousness, like you're a consciousness. You are a consciousness in a body. When your consciousness leaves, the body lays lifeless. You are what brings life to the body. You are the life. You are the consciousness. You are the light inside of the body. Excuse me. What happens by the time a person comes to the point that they are publicly walking around proud of their relationship with a spirit, this is not a relationship that other people can break. This is a bond. So the way this bond works is, even if one person might want to walk away from it, if the other consciousness stays, hangs around, refuses to give up on it, this is the oath that was taken. Sometimes in an oath, one person might give up, they might lose hope, and the other person doesn't want to lose hope. They want this. This is important to them. The relationships with spirit, you have to look at them as marriages. But these marriages are not one lifetime. These marriages don't just break because of a traumatic life experience. This is a marriage that will continue for lifetimes. It is permanent. This spiritual marriage, it is permanent. So you can see that is why this person walks around almost different from the rest of us because they carry something inside of them that is very committed to them. And this is how it works. So you have to understand, by the time you get to the point with your spirit and your spirit guides, where you reach this point where you are of service to some degree, you are telling other people about it, you want other people to come on board to how you live, you are referring to spirit as in a very critical role in your life, a critical role. Critical roles are a spouse, a parent, children. These are critical roles. These are critical familial roles. And once you start referring to spirit as a mother, a father, there's some people who say it because the Bible says it, our Father who are in heaven. And there's some people who really mean that literally, like they're like, that's my father. Like that's like my biological father, like God is my like that's how they feel. Once you feel like that, to me it's the same as a blood bond. So to get yourself in a situation, you expect that God's gonna be there for you. You don't expect to go to sleep and wake up with $1 billion because you ask God for it. This is not how the relationship would work with an earthly father. You wouldn't have a relationship with your earthly father and have all this love and expect, I'm gonna wake up in the morning and because I have an earthly father who's powerful, I'm gonna have all of this. No, you go out and you still work, you go out and you still do your thing. You in your mind, these two things are separate. Now you may say, you know what, I gotta pray because I'm gonna go, present my whatever, my work to someone. Can you just bless it for me? Can you be with me? Whatever. And then it will be blessed and it goes well. And you attribute that to your prayers and you're like, see, I told you, but you're not leaving everything to God. You know that you have to do your work. You know that you understand what's going on to a certain degree, right? And I think that's one of the critical ways that you can see people's relationships with spirits, because some people, they use the spirit as an ATM and they forget that a spirit is a consciousness. It sees you for what you are. You're not juicy territory it's like you made yourself dispensable, if you will. But people who give this kind of commitment to a light energy, dark energies are a whole nother topic. There are people who worship with that same sort of, and I'm not even going to go into that today. I don't care. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it, but knock yourself out. But the point that I'm making is you expect that this energy is going to come through for you in tough times. So I know that when Kanye West went through what he went through, he said it. He's like, I have my own issues with Jesus because when I was going through what I was going through and I called to Jesus, I didn't see him come. And I want it to be understood that Jesus is the tale of a man who came here as an example. If anything, I would say Jesus is like an ancestor, or Jesus is like like an intermediary. Jesus is not God. And so I can understand why someone would want Jesus to come through and they wouldn't see it, because a lot of what I see on YouTube is they push the Jesus agenda a lot. And I have to tell you, people who are trying to enslave you and trick you are not going to give you the answers that are going to help you. People who are trying to enslave you are definitely not going to give you a solution that's going to work. And even witches will laugh and say, praying to Jesus won't work. And it's true. In my situation in my city, as I was being gang stalked, they had all the Christians. They had all the Muslims. They had all of them. In a situation like this, you need to go to the highest God, the highest God. You need to go to the source of creation, we know from reading the Bible at least that Jesus was not the one who created the earth. It didn't say in the Old Testament Jesus created the earth. It was God. So it's unfortunate he got into this battle for his life, and he saw it was really with his action, with his effort, that he came out. That's what he saw with his human eyes, but in the spirit, it was definitely a lot of spirits fighting for him on his behalf. He went through a lot of stuff. I remember Kanye talking about, like, he has $1 billion, he can't even access his own money. I remember they always created issues of annoyance for him. He talked about the fact that his own personal trainer is talking down to him, saying, if you don't do this or that, I'm gonna have you locked up again. And he's like, where's that coming from? And it's like, these are handlers. You start realizing that these are handlers. And I could understand, and this is why I wanted to read those lyrics first before I started this video, is because I can understand how somebody would come out of that and not see that it was the presence of God. Because when I went through my first tough battle and I came out of it, I didn't see that it was God. I didn't see that it was God's grace. I felt defeated. God still took me out of the situation, but I didn't have to go through the situation like that. And I came out of the situation. It was me coming out of the situation that God showed me slowly but surely, no, I am real. You're wrong. I am real. I'm here. And my relationship with God got so tight after that to where I am today. And one of the things that I kind of want to put out there is just that it takes two hands to clap. I always say this. It takes two hands to clap. There's the first hand that's yours. You got to do the work. You got to walk. You got to be vigilant. You got to be cautious. You got to pay attention, etc., etc. But then you can't give up on your protection. You can't give up on God. You can't listen. So let's put a pin in it. There are people who can actually like see spirits and energy around them. If you are a person like that, it's gonna be easier for you, because then you can actually know that spirits are around you, guiding you. You can see that healing is happening to you. You can see that you're blessed if you can see energy. But if you're not one of those people, and I don't know if I would want to see energy, to be honest with you, because would you really want to see demons around you? It'd be kind of scary, right? But there's also people as well who, like, it's harder when you can't see it. It's harder when you don't know. So you might go through a tough battle, come out of it, and then you give credit to Jesus, and it's not Jesus that took you out. And when you look at witchcraft, you look at witch doctors, you look at these kind of people, these people hardly are ever Christian. These people are looking at energy. These people are looking at the reality of what's going on. You know, sitting here and talking about witchcraft and stuff like that, I feel like I go to a lot of comment sections and I see a lot of people employed by this gang stalking program that are Christians. They aren't actually really Christians, but they're prompted to talk about Christianity a lot. And they do that because, God forbid, one of them came up like myself and told people the truth, then people would actually have the ability to escape these situations and do better. This is why my channel is more blocked. This is why I face more fight down. This is why they try to do all this manipulation. Like, they keep a close eye on my channel so it doesn't grow, or it doesn't grow properly. Because the truth is the truth. You know, if you pray to Jesus in these battles, you are as good as done. It will have no effect. So oftentimes, anyway, I'm not even gonna go into that. One thing that, you know, and I've talked about this before, is you cannot lose hope in your battle. You have to expect that battles are going to be difficult. You have to expect that things are going to be lengthy. Issues of this magnitude are not going to resolve themselves very quickly. Time and patience is needed. This is how things work. It is what it is. Losing faith in a relationship that has shown merit to you up until now, losing faith now is the wrong time. The whole point that you were going through all of this, the whole point of going through building this relationship with spirit is so that when you get here, you can really benefit off of having that very close relationship. It's like when people have spiritual gifts. It's like you don't have spiritual gifts because it's cool. You don't just have spiritual gifts because it's fun to have. It might be cool to see in the beginning, but it's given to you for a reason. You are a custodian of spiritual gifts for a reason, and that reason is it is in service of God, because God is the one that grants these gifts. And so a lot of times when people really step in it and God is ready to deal with them and they lose that spiritual connection, they lose their gifts, they lose blessings, they lose everything. It's like it was not meant to be in a self-serving capacity. It wasn't just meant for no reason for you to have spiritual gifts. You're meant to have spiritual gifts so that you can do what it is that God needs you to do. And that is always usually to help other people, to be of service to other people. And sometimes the gift is a lot of times it's not just a gift of being psychic or a gift of like seeing through walls or whatever. It's literally a gift of, it could be like, I just read the lyrics to the Mariah Carey song. Whoever wrote that song, that could have been their gift. And then they meet an artist or get to work with an artist as big as she is. And then they get to help people that are going through difficult situations. Because I've heard that song, people have sang that song in different trying situations or put that song on different videos that I've seen or whatever. You know, all it really boils down to is, and I know it sounds kind of easy for me to say, it's like, who am I? I'm a person who hasn't lost hope, to be honest with you. I'm a person who has gone through and held on in circumstances that would have been daunting to anyone. But there are certain things that you must decide early on in your trials in life. Number one, you know, I'm not a flighty person. I'm not a person that just builds relationships with anything to do so. I'm very slow in these things. And once I build a relationship with spirit, it's like, this is forever. This is do or die. It doesn't matter. My relationship with spirit is not contingent on things going well in my life. This is just how relationships for me work. I wouldn't want my relationship with spirit to be contingent on me not making a mistake or me not slipping up. So my relationship with spirit, although I would always try my best, I don't want this contingent on circumstances. So from the minute that I say I love you and it's forever, it's forever. So it doesn't matter if we lose this battle or not. That's number one. I remember I had trolls come in here and they asked me, how comes you don't give up on God? What? Never. It can never happen. It can never happen. No matter what happens, it can never happen. This is permanent. And I don't just mean one lifetime. This is permanent. So this is a decision that's been made because I've seen enough of the Most High to know that I found my place and I feel comfortable with it. The second thing is that because of this relationship being a foundation to my life, because of this relationship with God being the foundation that comes before everything, and what I mean by that is God first, God always. So God comes before myself, God comes before my children, God comes before everything, God first. This position that I've put God in assures that I am assured the guidance that I'm given is always coming from a place of love. And so it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't matter if, let's say we're in this situation and the gang stalkers win. Of course I'm gonna have questions of God, like, why did you let this happen? Like, but I also feel like I trusted enough to be like, you know what, God let these people win over me for a reason, or maybe it's not really a win, or maybe it's temporary. Give it time. Because that's what you do with people that you love. You give it time. You give an opportunity for someone to explain themselves, for someone to come around maybe when they're upset, after they're done being upset. It's decency. It's decency. Because how can you build a bond with spirit, tell the spirit you love it, go through all of this, spirit's proven itself over and over, and then at the first sign of trouble, at the first sign of things not going your way, or on some outsider who you don't even know is saying, oh, well, God is not there for you because you're suffering, or where's your God now? You're gonna let that stop you from a relationship that was established outside of all of that. You gotta give spirit time. It's the least. It's just decency. It is the least. It is the least. In good times, you are happy to eat of the fruit. You are happy to be able to say things went my way. You are happy to be able to say I am blessed. And now that things are difficult and the spirit needs you, you're easy to fold like a lawn chair. You can't hold on. Some people will want to question, why does spirit hold some people in higher honor than others? Because the first thing happened and you blamed God as if God did it. Didn't give God a chance to rectify the situation, to make things right. This is the thing. And so now that you're in this precarious situation, this trying time, that would really give God an opportunity to show you exactly who God is. An opportunity to show you how strong your God is, how powerful your God is. And you stripped God of that opportunity. Immediately you started crying and went to the other side. Let those people in that never liked you, never helped you, never were there for you, put you in this situation. And it's very strategic the way that they go around about it. These energies always want to make something seem like God's failing something and make their victories very loud. They're painting these illusions. If you are really serving God, you keep focus and you keep attention on your team, on your side. That's it. It doesn't matter what they're doing over there. It doesn't matter what's happening over there. We win together, we lose together. That's it. And the way I always see it is, if we don't make it this lifetime, we have other lifetimes to come back and make it correct. I feel like it's such a betrayal to God if I were to be an embarrassment. And the biggest embarrassment is somebody who publicly that was saying that they love you has turned their back on you publicly. That's mortifying. That's crazy. There's some people that are going through things that want loyalty that they don't have. You want God to give you a loyalty that you cannot reciprocate. You want God to stand in a fire with you, but you don't want to stand in the fire too. You want to be off in safety and God to be the only one in the fire. How does that make sense? That's like saying, I have a husband and we are going through the time of our life. Things are difficult. And this fool wants to not do any of the work, not help, not dirty their hands. Publicly, they distance themselves from the situation. Let me fight it all alone and then swoop in and be in all the pictures in the newspaper. You gotta be a clown to tolerate that. And God is loving and long suffering, but does God deserve that behavior, to be quite honest? Does God deserve that? Because it is through you being in that storm that demonstrates to other people who need to see that God is real, who need that example of God's love. It is with those, with your trials, that it is an example to others who need to stay in that fire, who need to be able to hold on to get to their victory, to get to do to have their victory lap, their victory dance. Other people sometimes get to look at you and be like, wait, that situation was so crazy that it could have only been God. And I posted something today, and I mean that, and it's a short. My short was like, people need to see, sometimes it's your smile that makes other people know that they can smile in their storms as well. I know with me and what I'm going through in the city, that when people in the city, in my city, see me and they see, it's not even about a total victory. If like them just seeing me still on my feet, that brings incredible hope to people. That brings the consideration like, maybe I should just try to hold on. Damn, this girl held on so long. Maybe I should try. Maybe it's possible. I'm tired of this. Sometimes that's your only purpose here, is just so that people can see God is real. Because people have gone through something so terrible that they don't believe God is real. And now they see somebody else and they're like, the way God is coming through like this, they're like, no, something else. There's something else helping this person. In my situation, if you even still doubt that, I don't know what you're looking at. I don't know what story you're looking at. I don't know what to say. It has been undeniable that there is spiritual assistance on my case. And lucky for me, I was going to keep it to myself because my beliefs are unconventional. So I didn't want people to say witchcraft and voodoo and all of that, because I'm not initiated in anything. I don't know how to do that stuff. I know how to pray though. I know how to pray. And luckily, God was like, you shouldn't be ashamed of your beliefs. But you know what? Even to take it a step further, I remember thinking to myself, if God gets me through this, and anybody asked me, and I don't care how public the platform, how did you get through this? It would have been a betrayal to say anything. But my mother got me through this step by step, day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute. This is not a situation where it's just hocus pocus. Like people think that's what it is. God is a cheerleader. Spirit is saying to you, you gotta heal. You can't live like this. What happened to make you so mad? Well, I don't know. Well, what did you do? Well, I did this and I did that. Okay, then. That's not you. Oh, you're right. I need to clean that off. I need to meditate. Why do you feel this way? How comes you're not this and that? Sometimes Spirit is just patient and just sits back and just observes and lets you learn. Because the thing is, as much as we want guidance and step-by-step instructions, as human beings, the only way we learn is the hard way. All of us. The only way we learn is the hard way. It's like something about human beings is pointless. It's pointless to tell people A, B, C, D, E. Because no matter what you say, people are going to come back to the same thing. This is going crazy here. People are going to come back to the same thing every single time. And that is going to be what they can feel. You learn through what you can feel, not what you're hearing. You have to go through your own fire. You got to go through this entire thing and feel every ounce of it. If you are meant to come on here, for myself, I want to come on here and talk to people and let people know how they can get through. And I haven't felt every ounce of pain. I haven't felt the betrayals. I haven't seen the booby traps. I haven't felt paranoid. I haven't felt alone. How am I going to do that? How can I relate to what they're going through? How can I see it? When I hear people talk, I'm not just hearing what they're saying from an outside perspective thinking, oh my God, that sucks. I am literally feeling what they felt because I felt it too. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the despair. I'm feeling the hopelessness. I'm feeling all of it. This is what a lot of times when we say, well, how comes God allowed this to happen? Well, maybe God wanted to use you as an example. Maybe God wanted to get you to a point where other people saw your public fall so that God can pick you up publicly as well, so that you can shout and say, God did it. When you look at Psalms, a lot of the times in the Bible, the way people talk, it's like a lot of the psalmists would say, it's like they would trade with God. Like, if you help me through this, I'm going to sing your praises for the rest of my life. That is the whole point of what you're going through, to be like, and I don't want to say an example, but like a demonstration of the love of God. That's what Jesus was. That's the Jesus story, a demonstration of the love of God, a demonstration not just of the love of God, but of the death and rebirth cycle, of knowing that despite what you go through, the greater the sacrifice, the greater the reward. When you're going through your gang stalking journey, you have absolutely no idea. A lot of us, we don't know why we found ourselves in this. I asked 100 times, like, how did I find myself in this? I live a good life. I don't bother anyone. I don't, what is going on? And then came to find out the majority of people just found themselves in the wrong place at the wrong time. For me, I was dating someone, but let me tell you, it doesn't even matter. You could just be someone's neighbor and then find yourself in this horrible situation, find yourself surrounded by certain people, find yourself a target. It doesn't matter. You don't have to offend people. Like in my city, you listen, if anybody even knows me, they're going to be a TI. Oh my God, such beautiful quotes. In my city, if you even know me, you're gonna end up being a TI. That's all it is. Like, they gang stalk people to gang stalk me. They bully people to bully me. Somebody in this situation is definitely gonna lose their life unless they can figure this thing out. And they act like it. They act like it. It's ruthless. It's without caution. It's just like mind over matter. It's sloppy work. It's craziness, and people know that, and people don't want to be involved with it. But this is where it's come to. So you have people that are in survival mode fighting for their life, and you don't know what gang stalker situations are, but I always welcome people. Like, it's not what you think it is. It's not just like you think it is. Situations behind the scenes are crazier than you could think. The other thing that I want to talk about when it comes to gang stalking, and I've mentioned this before, sometimes you have to go back to what prayers did you pray before. Sometimes you forget your prayers. What did you pray for before? Years before gang stalking, years before gang stalking, what did you ask God? You probably asked for something very big. Worst off, if you put a timeline on it. If you put a timeline on it, so let's say, for example, you're, I don't know, a baker. You're a baker. And you say to God, I want to be a multimillionaire one day. You didn't even specify. You're just like, I want to be successful. I want to have millions. I want to have this. I want to have that. And then one day you find yourself in like some horrific situation. And now you need to sue this organization. And you started the lawsuit process, and now you're being gang stalked. And you're like, wait a minute. All I did was I asked God to be a multimillionaire. Like, what is going on here? My life has fallen apart. God's like, but wait, but you asked for this. In order to give you what you wanted, I got to take away what you have. You only have two hands. How are you going to hold this that you have now and that? You're not a multimillionaire right now. You need to walk into the aura of a multimillionaire. How do multimillionaires behave? Not like you, not the way that you're behaving right now. You're not it. You need to go through character development. Your networks need to change, your social networks need to change, the people that you're around, the places that you live, all of this needs to change. But you're like, God, but my life is falling apart. It's a demolition. You said you needed new cupboards. How do we give you new cupboards if you're crying over these ones coming down? How are we gonna give you new floors if, as we're ripping out the floors, the old floors, you keep crying about it? This is a demolition. It's a demolition. Everything's crashing. So gang stalking will enact demolition in your life. They're going to take a sledgehammer to everything. All these relationships that are going to be a hurdle to where you have to go. Give me a second again. Give me a minute, guys. 1 second. Yeah. So as your life is being pulled down, it's probably because the thing that you asked for is a lot. You asked for something big. This is just how it has to work in every capacity, like in reality, spiritually, in general. Something needs to be given for something to be got. It's like they call it sacrifices in witchcraft. Like, you gotta sacrifice something, you gotta give something up. But logically, you can't, like, there's some people who say, well, I'm gonna keep this home and buy a second one, and they think like that's how it works in the spirit. But it's not, when the things are like, it's canceling out each other. So if you have toxic people around you, people who don't have love in their heart, you cannot be a vibrational match in this kind of environment of toxicity to having love in your life. You gotta let go of these past attachments. And it is just like impossible in every way, shape, or form to get the blessings that you want, that God wants to give you, with certain energies in your life. Now, there are energies, especially in gang stalking, that like to play God, and they really feel like they can stick around for someone's blessings, but it's pushing energy to delete you. Because one way or the other way, this is the thing about like people's path in life. And there have been people, and they say that they can steal people's destinies and stuff like that. And I don't think that they cannot. With the person's permission and with they put pressure for you to give it up. They can't steal it. You got to give it up. So they put you in circumstances where you're forced to give it up, or you think you're forced to give it up. I think you can hold on to things that you want no matter what. So these energies are going to come around, and they're really going to like bite your hand in every way. They're going to do a lot of things because they want what you have. The thing is, if you hold on to it, what you have, what is yours, and you let the clock run out, no matter what circumstances you're going through, if you let the clock run out, it is written that when it is time for you to get what is yours, it will happen no matter what has to happen. And this is where they get you. Because as you continue thinking God is not there, and as you continue thinking people are actually having some sort of impact on you, the optics look horrific. But you're just under training for where you're going. Like you're just being trained for where you're going. So it looks like you're losing. It looks like things are not working out for you. It looks like these people are winning. But the thing is, there's a timer. I told you, you can't skip the seasons. No matter what happens, it has to happen. It has to go the way that it is written. You have, this is the way, it's like, I don't know what is an analogy for me to use. It's like, look, you have guardian angels, you have forces that are there to keep you on your path and get you to where you have to go. Even if in some cases they have to trip you up a little bit and drag you. Even if they have to like bash you over the head and drag you by the foot to where you have to go. Like they have to get you there. You have to, it's like life gets disrupted when this doesn't happen. There's a disruption in the motion of everything when this doesn't happen. People that give up on themselves, that give up on their dreams, it's like they're not where they're supposed to go at the time that they were supposed to be there. Now, normal things will happen to delay you and whatnot, but if people like destiny stealers, like gang stalkers, like witches that specialize in stealing people's futures, if these people were not there, there would still be some type of opposition to you reaching your goal. There would still be people, places, and things that would get in your path that you would have to jump over. The thing is, these people are artificially doing a lot of things. And they always say things like, well, if you do it the right way, then you won't face the karma. Here's the thing. If they get you to quit on yourself, then yeah, there's not going to be any karma because technically you quit on yourself. You gave up on you. But if you continue doing what you're supposed to do, if you don't give up on yourself, if you keep putting one foot in front of the other, no matter how slow, no matter how long, no matter how trying, no matter how hard, there's no possible way that the spirit can't get you there because you're cooperative, you're obedient, you're perseverant, you will endure anything. How can we not get you there? We never said it would be easy though, but we just said it's guaranteed. So you just don't hear the stories of how this person went from having this much, now they have 10 billion, or this person got this, or this. You don't know the trials and tribulations behind it. So that's why you think, well, how comes it's not working for me? There's going to be trials in everything you do, and the bigger the blessing, the bigger the opposition. There's no way you're going to think that this is going to come for free, that this is going to come without anything, because it's in the trials. It's in the trials that you learn. Like this one card that I get all the time, it says, strength of character and moral integrity. Character cannot be developed in ease and quiet. Only through experiences of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened, vision cleared, ambition inspired, and success achieved. And I read this card all the time. This is a quote by Helen Keller. It is in the trial, in the fire, that you develop the character to carry the load you're going to be given. You asked for multi-millions, but you didn't know that multi-millionaires have the potential to be gang stalked. You didn't know that if you're not gang stalked before you have the millions and learn to deal with it, when you get there, you would lose it all. Because they would come for you. These thieves would come for you. They would snatch it out of your hand. So while you're here, considering giving up, consider that you're learning. You're in boot camp to learn how to keep walking through tough situations, in a famine, in a storm. How to keep building, how to keep running up a hill without taking any stops for breath. Strengthen your legs, strengthen your lungs, strengthen your mind to keep pushing you. How to connect with spirit, because you're going to need your spiritual connection for where you're going. This is the point of what you're doing. That's why I keep pushing all the time. You do not have the luxury of giving up on spirit. You don't have the luxury of giving up on yourself. It is in the journey through gang stalking that you get to nirvana. And there's only so many ways that this can be communicated. Excuse me, but it boils down to the same thing over and over. If you give up on yourself, if you give up on your spirit guides that you may or may not be consciously aware are with you, if you give up on the dream that your ancestors have for you, then you're forfeiting blessings, and it's going to end up in the same hands of the people that you despise. You got to walk through the journey, and you don't know how long it's going to take, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how long it takes. You got to keep going. You got to see it through, and it's going to be tough. And like those lyrics said, the hero is in you, is inside of you. The hero, not just you yourself, but your spirits that are with you, your ancestors that are with you, that walk with you, inside of you, that you carry with you. Your DNA, you know, it's like this, and I wanted to bring up this example. So yesterday I was talking about, so this was my analogy about how it feels to change the aura around you, your vibration, and the energy you're emitting. So this is the example that I had. I said, imagine there's somebody in high school, and this was like the ugly kid, the kid with the acne, the nerdy kid, blah, 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 blah. This is also a kid who has to spend a lot of time by themselves, let's say, and they practice and they play basketball, and now they got chosen as draft pick. And they were bullied by somebody who maybe looked better, had more things, guys that can attract more women, whatever. When it's announced on news, on, you know, sports channel, whatever, that this person from your high school got drafted in the NBA, this person, when it soaks into them what's happened, they walk with a different energy. Not because they already got on the plane and signed the agreement and got the money and got the check and the check cleared. It's because they know the check is coming guaranteed. It's done. It's a done deal. You walk in a different aura. It's a different vibration. Once you get there, you're not responsive to the same things that you used to respond to anymore, because energetically you've left that cycle, you've left that high school, you've left those bullies, all of that is in the past. That aura, the old cycle, you even look different in pictures because you're radiating something else now. You look different, you act different, you talk different, you walk different. The same person who was bullied is gonna walk around school with an air, a confidence. He is already a multimillionaire now. Even if the check didn't clear, he is that now. He's already walking in the aura now. It's as good as done. This is how God wants you to take on this role. And I always talk about the fact that I say that the beginning of wisdom is calling things by the correct name. God calls you by a different name than you call yourself, because how you describe yourself is attached to your reality, and God is calling you what you are. You haven't actualized yet. You haven't made it possible yet. There's a quote, and I'm gonna look it up because this is one of my favorite quotes. This quote is on it's some quote, I keep referencing it. It basically says like the something of life is the point of life, or something like that, is you're trying to be that which you always are, or that which you always were. And it's kind of like if you meet someone and they're not there yet, but you call them by how you can see them, you call them by what we would call potential. It's like God calls that destiny. The only way you don't get there is if you give up on it, and God's gonna fight tooth and nail with you for you to not give up on it. The only way for you to not get there is if you give up on it. Do you know what kind of fight they're fighting spiritually for you to not get there, and spiritually to make sure that you do get there? It's a hard fight, I'm telling you. And people who can see energies will tell you how brutal the fight is. People who can feel this energy will tell you how aggressive this fight is spiritually. And that's the thing, in the spirit, they're fighting. Imagine they're fighting so hard, they're this close, and here you go giving it up. Here you go walking away. Here you go giving up on yourself. That's the problem. You have to remain committed throughout whatever you see, because whatever you see on this course it's part of what is supposed to happen. It's part of you. You have to see this stuff on the way here. You have to know what it looks like to not have the money that you want. You have to know what it looks like to be scared. In the beginning, I was scared for my life. I didn't know how dangerous these people are, what this was about. And these are dangerous people. And I had to go through all of that to get to where I am now. I had to walk that path of being afraid, of being terrified, of still going, but always being encouraged by God to get, people might say, well, the way that I talk is very aggressive for a girl, and this and that and the third, but it's like they don't know your walk. They don't know what you're dealing with. They don't know the type of characters that you're dealing with. And they don't know that where you're going, you're going to have to be that type of person. Listen, there are some energies you cannot risk coming like a mouse. If they feel like they can take advantage of you, there's energies that you want to make them second guess. You want to not look like the weakest one, because the weakest one is where they organize the strongest attack. With the stronger ones, they test the waters. Like, okay, what if we do this? What if we do that? People don't just launch full attacks where it's very dangerous, because there's very real consequences. So you gotta let people know that listen, it's not something where we'll try and if it doesn't work, we'll apologize. You can't be that type of energy. You're not an energy that accepts apologies. You have to be the kind of energy that when God needs you on the battlefield, when God needs you to stand in this fight, when God needs somebody very strong to get it done, that you're going to get it done. No, they brutalized, they did all of this, they caused all of this anguish, this pain, and then they're going to come with an apology or a settlement offer or some nonsense in the fourth quarter, and you're going to make your ancestors and God embarrassed and go ahead. Like, this is not what it's about. But all of these steps, you have to go through it. You have to go through every single step. You have to go from being terrified to being sick of it, to being exhausted, to saying, you know what, I don't care. I don't care. Nobody's talking to me like that. Nobody's passing their place. Nobody's sending me spell work. Nobody's doing any of this, because I'm not putting up with it. You have to get to that point. So every single opportunity for growth on this gang stalking journey, every single time you jump a hurdle, you land somewhere better. But if you stay down here and spend a whole bunch of time crying about it, you stay at this level. This gets blocked. It gives you an opportunity to jump that hurdle and land higher in a better position than you were. This was happening. I had to address it. Well, since I stopped playing into their hand, or I stopped doing this, I got better. And so, listen, there's too much content about gang stalking. Is the only traumatic situation that all people do is talk about how terrible gang stalking is, and there's no talk of healing or anything else. Give me a second, don't run. Only with gang stalking, you don't see a whole bunch of content that is empowering and uplifting. Do you think that's by accident? Come on. If you go right now and you look up narcissistic abuse, rape, childhood trauma, any horrific thing, there is a whole bunch of content on healing from it, a whole bunch of content on how to navigate it, a whole bunch of, well, what happens next. And all the gang stalking content is all about staying in this cycle with us of complaining night and day. We don't have any good hashtags. There's no hashtags like, abolish gang stalking, or the coalition of the coalition of putting an end to gang stalking. There's none of that. It's all about gang stalking did this, the gang stalkers did that, blah blah blah, proof of gang stalking, see they're following me, all of this nonsense. It's not nonsense, but we need other content too, right? How comes there's no movement to abolish it? How comes there's no movement to move past it? It's strategic. They steal the content, but they will never repeat content like abolish gang stalking or let's heal. How do we heal? How do we really fix it? How do we address witchcraft? None of that stuff. Somebody has to stand up and do that, because they don't let anybody heal. They don't let anybody walk away. They want to keep you here until they say you're leaving. That is the first thing that has to stop. You leave when God says you're leaving. That's it. That's all. And it doesn't matter what any human being housing entities wants to think, because these are human beings, human vessels housing entities. If it breathes oxygen, it is dispensable. That's it. You don't provoke spirits, and the spirit is patient with the situation because they know the clock. They know the clock. This is kind of like rushing a kid to walk. There's no kid that's going to not walk. Even if nobody teaches the kid to walk, the kid is naturally designed to get up on its feet one day and start to learn to walk. Why force it? I have 2 kids. The first one, I was in a rush. You should learn to read. You should learn to walk. You should this, you should that. The second one, I'm like, listen, there's no way that this kid's not gonna learn any of this stuff. I was so relaxed. It's like, you do it whenever you feel like doing it. No rush, no whatever. Very relaxed. That's how parents are, because as you have more of them, you just realize they don't really need you to do things that are instinctual. They're sitting there and they're watching everybody walking on 2 legs. Why do you think they're gonna crawl forever? They're gonna try to do what everybody else is doing. You don't think they're gonna feel uncomfortable with it at some point? It's just like that. You're gonna sit in gang stalking, and at some point you're gonna be like, you know what? I don't know, I'm over this. And you're gonna really be over it emotionally, and they're gonna pick up on it. Emotionally, it's gonna be like, how long can they repeat the same behavior before it stops affecting you? At some point, it stops affecting you. Let me make something abundantly clear. Gang stalkers know that you guys are protected. If you're still alive, they want to kill you with spell work. I'm just going to put it unalive. Sorry, YouTube, unalive. They want to unalive you with spell work. Do not for a second think that they haven't put death spells on you, especially when it's them or you. They know you're protected. They are more familiar in a lot of cases with your protection than you are. People who can astral project, you don't think they've been chased out of your house by your protection before? You don't think your protection has put hands on these people before? I'm here to tell you 100% they have. You got to call on your own spirit guides. You got to call on your ancestors. It is when you have people who pass away, they are not just passing away because of the disease or the car crash or it's their time. They're passing away because where you're going, you're going to need their help. It is time for them to go in the spirit. They go earlier than you need because they also need to get acclimatized over there so they can be there for you at the right time. It is not just people will say this person sacrificed their mother for fame or their cousin or whatever for fame. You sure they could say that? But how do you know that wasn't the divine plan? So that when you are at your lowest, you remember that soul tie. Because when people pass away that you truly love, you don't cut the cord. You don't have the strength to even accept their death, much less for you to say, oh, I'm going to cut the tie with them emotionally and let them go and release them. You don't have it. You don't have it in you. So the cord remains. And I told you, these cords are through consciousness. They're from one spirit to another spirit. You're a spirit. You just have a body. They leave a body, but they're still a spirit. A spirit to spirit, it's an invisible cord that is going to remain there. So once that cord remains, they pass away, and you're going through a traumatic time, 9 out of 10 times, you're going to try to speak to your dead. You're going to say, whether it's a grandmother, a brother, a sister, a person that you loved, you're going to say, such and such, I am having the worst time of my life. I never even knew it was like this. What is going on? Such and such is already waiting there with the Most High, with your angels, with your guardians, with whoever. And they're like, wait, she finally said it. He finally called. Because they need you to call. They need you to make that connection. They need you to tap them in. It is with your dead. It is always with your dead. That is where you start. These relationships don't go anywhere. In my personal, humble opinion, I know that when Kanye West lost his mom, they said that he lost his mom right before he made it in Hollywood because she needed to be in the spirit. She needed to be in the spirit to give that assistance to him. He cannot go where he needs to be with both of them being alive. This is the strongest connection, the strongest cord. This is the cord that's going to keep him going. When he sees her in the spirit, in his dreams, wherever, however, when he sees it, he will know that it's okay to continue on. He will know that it's okay. Like, I'm with you. Don't trust them. Don't sign that deal. And he won't be scared because it's not a stranger coming to him. It is his help. It's his spiritual help. I always say start with your dead. I didn't know that is formally how they do it, but very serious, like Orisha, like not Orishas, but like these, I don't know what to call it. It's like these groups that, like, I forget their name. It's like these groups that initiate witches and people into spiritual orders and whatever. The white cloth ones anyway, they start the same way. You have to start with your ancestors. You got to get to know your ancestors. Now, if I had to go that way, it might have been difficult. I don't know how it is for them. Because when the universe initiates you, you didn't go looking for it or nobody did it for you. When it happens with the universe, you get to know your ancestors by force. You have to tap in by force. You have to tap in very quickly, get familiar very quickly, get comfortable, but they wait. They need your... Let me explain to you why. Think about if spirits did not need your permission to act on your behalf, because you're just thinking, well, if I sit here and they see me in a problem, why can't they help me? Do you know what kind of mess we would be in this life if spirits can just jump in and do anything they want in your life without your permission? That would be abused by dark entities. All kinds of entities would come, hop into your body, do things in your life. It would be chaotic. How would you be able to walk your path as a human being and make decisions if your free will is always being intercepted by some energy because they wanted to make a conscious decision? You have to give the permission to spirit all the time. Imagine, it took me a while to ask. Why? Because I'm used to doing everything myself. And there's sometimes I'm like, wait a minute, why did I not ask about that? Wait a minute, why didn't I just ask God to do that? It's like I get to the point where I'm just like, wait, I can ask. I can just say, hey, can you bless this for me? Can I do this? Can we like, and then I get to the point on this journey where it's like, you're gonna have to get to the point where you start asking them questions. Can you confirm this for me? Can you, who is this person? Can I trust them? Should I do this? Should I do that? And you get no answer at the time. Nothing happens, nothing, no answer, yes or no. And you give it some time and they're gonna show you the evidence. And let me tell you something for people who want this gift and that gift. If God can answer you in your head yes right away, so can dark forces. You ask a question, can I trust this person? And this person's working with dark forces. They just whisper in your ear, yes, you can trust them. You prefer to see what you gotta see, to see the evidence of what you have to see. Excuse me, you prefer to see it. This is how God works. Because if you see it for yourself, you should have no reason to deny it. You saw their behavior. You saw what they did. You saw how they treated you. Now, some people will see all of that and will still fall victim to everything because sometimes people don't, it's like they're personally in denial. Like they're like, no, it couldn't be and this and that, but it is. It is. You have to be able to trust. Use discernment, because sometimes what you see is not even real either. Once you're a TI, this place is booby trapped. You really have to depend on spirit guides to get you through. You develop your relationship with them. You understand their methods of communication, the way they communicate. They wait for you to communicate things for you, to take care of you, to prepare things for you. You'll be fine as long as you open the door. And if you want to be one of those people where you're like, look, I just don't want to fail, I'm kind of nervous, then you just ask them like, look, I give you permission to override my prayers when I'm praying for what doesn't serve me. When I'm praying for something that's not good for me, I give the situation to you so you can handle it. As a matter of fact, with me, I gave them that situation so long. I was like, listen, I was in the driver's seat and it's like every minute, it's like, there's a warning, I'm like, whoa, what is it? Multiple times a day, there's an issue. It's like, I'm like, listen, you guys gonna have to take this over because I'm tired. And then even coming in the spirit and constantly praying the same prayer, I'm like, why don't you just take it over? Tell me what you need me to do. And I'm at the point now, I'm like, this is not even my fight. This is not even my fight at this point. You guys got to take this over. I'm just here. I'm just ducking and dodging bullets that are coming my way. I don't even know these people. I don't know what these people want. If they really take me out of it, I don't care. I don't care. You got to give the situation to God a lot of times, to your team who can see more than you can see. They can see everything. They can feel people's intentions. They can see what shouldn't be around you. Just give it to them and move on with it. And people will think that you're doing things to them. They'll think but they don't ever understand that it's your team that's blocking things from you, so it has to go back. They don't want to accept that they know what they're doing is wrong. They know they're launching attacks on you. They know it. But they'll think they're in some type of war with you. Even though every time they come in your energy, you're always relaxing, you're not doing anything. They will sit meditating on you night and day, never see you do anything, have no proof that you've done anything, and still think that you're warring against them as they brutalize you and take it way too far. You got to give it to your team, and you have to empower your spirit team as well with prayer, with offerings, with consistently being in touch with them, with making sure that you honor, your commitments to spirit, etc. Like you got to be doing your part. Because once you have to get to the point that you're working with spirit, you're going to have to keep working with spirit for the rest of your life. I'm just letting you know that. This is not just a let me get you through this and you're going to go back to what you were doing. I need to impress that upon people. This is a forever thing. These relationships, they will not stop. It is forever. And that is to your benefit. That's not a bad thing. Forever aligned with the Most High. That is to your benefit. Um, I want to talk about spiritual warfare, because if you're here, congratulations, you are actually fighting spiritual warfare, and that might be your destiny in life, is to fight spiritual warfare. And I'm gonna take away the word might and just tell you that you are a spiritual warrior. And now that you know that, welcome. It's very crazy here. It takes a while to acclimatize to this type of lifestyle. It takes a while to realize that you are always in service. You always were, you didn't know it, but now more so than ever. It takes a while to get used to, for me, coming to terms with the fact that people are like this, like people are evil. If I didn't have God with me, I would not like human beings ever again. I would be I'm very confused, very confused. Even for the fact that people choose to make money like this. They have other talents and abilities. Why did they choose to use it like this? There's a lot. I ask questions and God continues to demonstrate the answer, not tell me. So I gotta go any amount of time without knowing why. Why do they exist? Why does this happen? How comes you can snap your finger and they'd be out of here? Why? And this is just how it is in the spirit world. They fight every day. There's always a battle for someone's soul. There's a battle to keep someone's inheritance. There's a battle to keep someone on their path. There's a battle to keep someone from turning dark. There's always a battle in the spirit. And once you enter spiritual warfare, you are trained and toughened up to the point where you do not hesitate when you are called into battle. You understand what battle is like. Battle looks physically in the reality very dangerous, very scary situations that nobody wants to go in, but somebody has to do. Nobody's doing it, and that person who's doing it is you. So it's tough stuff. When you're called into a spiritual fight, you cannot hesitate. You'll get to that point. It's not like saying you shouldn't do this or you shouldn't do that. You're just gonna get to that point where you won't hesitate. You won't. Once you see what's going on, it's a selfless place to be, because it's like you give of yourself, of your personal comfort. You sacrifice so much. You learn to not be attached to too many people, things, jobs, businesses, anything, because you are on call at any time. And it's a labor of love. It's something that you're proud to do because of the love you have for God, and knowing that God does this for you all the time. So you understand the importance of when you're in that bad situation, that you pray that God comes to get you. So you are happy to do it for other people because you know what it means. You know how it feels. You know how scary it is. You start realizing when things are not normal, when that's actually witchcraft, spell work, whatever you want to call it, when that's dark energies, so you become even more understanding of people, that they're not really in control of themselves, that they are at the mercy of something else. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't do your job, but with understanding, once you understand people a little bit more, you understand like how it happened, why it happened. You can help them a little bit more. Like with me, if I just quit and I saw gang stalkers as evil, I would myself, it would be easier for me to turn evil, because I would say, well, look at how these people are behaving. If these people are behaving like this, then why should I be a better version of myself? But I realized these people allowed themselves to be unprotected. These people were probably themselves bullied, or they sent spirits on top of these people. And it's like listen, I'm telling you, in the course of this, I've spoken to people and I could see the real person in the background. afraid, fighting for their life, and I could see the entity in the front. And I don't mean that literally, but I'm telling you, like, it's like I don't know how to explain it. But you can see that you're talking to an entity and the real person is back there. And that person is scared. I can't explain it, but I'm telling you. It makes you a lot more compassionate to what's happening because somebody has drowned in their own body. The entity has completely taken over and it is driving their life into the ground. This is where it comes to the point where when you're still in control and the entity's in the background waiting for you to do enough that it can eat away at your goodness, at the light in you, the purity in you to take over. When it's still in the background, you know when to stop. When it's still in the background, you know, don't text somebody something. It's incriminating, it's evidence, don't do it. You know. But when the entity is in the front, you're doing things any type of way. You're not even, because you're not there. You're not there. You don't know when to stop. You don't know how to stop. It's like it's gone. It's far gone. And we've all seen it. We've all seen people like this where it's like, I've met people that is bad. Where it's like, let's say it's like a sex addiction. It's so bad that if this person were to have this entity off of them and they would read the message that they put in writing with their picture and their phone number on like a what, they would pass out. They would faint of embarrassment. They would want to leave the country because it's like, you're not here anymore. It's bad. I think a lot of times, a lot of these people, I think they don't even want the entity to leave. It's not, listen, let me tell you something. I've come to the point where I realize it's not even so much that a person doesn't even want to heal. It's like the healing would break them down. Like having to face everything that you've done that's happened, like it's too much. It's too much. It's craziness. So you gotta like look at things a little bit differently sometimes during this thing that you're going through. One way that I knew that I was really, really healing, and I'm not totally there yet. This healing thing is in multiple phases. Oh my God. Every time I think I'm done, there's another new chapter to open up. It is ridiculous. It's a long process. But one of the ways that I knew that I was really healing and that it was working was when I thought to myself that at the moment that justice would come in my situation, that I probably wouldn't even enjoy it. It probably would just be like, this is the right thing that has to get done, but it wasn't like, I wouldn't be gloating. It wouldn't be like, ha ha ha, I got you, or it wouldn't be anything like that. It would literally just be like, it's like, that's when I knew I was getting numb to the situation. And it's like, I'm like, this is beyond, this is going too far. It's crazy because these things are just, it just changes on your mood. It changes on your aura. It just changes around you where you just wake up one day and things are different for you where you're like, I'm not doing this. Like, this is crazy. This is too much. People in this situation have they're not stepping outside of themselves to see what's going on, what they're doing, how bad this is. This is really bad. And when this comes out to the public, the kind of humiliation, the kind of scandal, it's like when this hits the air, it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot for people to come to terms with that they participated in this. This is mortifying. I want to talk about prayer. Prayer is when you are giving energy to spirit. I talked yesterday about when you give your energy or attention to anything, you make it God. You make it your God. So when you give your attention and your energy to a spirit, you make it your God. And the more you give it, the more attention you give it, the more of a stronghold it has in your life. And there's a certain point you get to with that relationship where that stronghold cannot be broken because the spirit it's entrenched in you. And so what happens is you come here to this planet with a purpose in life, and you become so attached to the circumstances that they brought you here. You were a shoemaker, you were a doctor, you were a nurse, a physician, that when your time comes and they call you, you keep crying about the old life that you had to give up but you didn't realize this is not your calling. So you got these people that are supposed to be stopping us from the stuff that we're doing. These people are waking up, they start panicking. We are now at war. And what they're trying to do is destroy that relationship before God takes a hold of you. Because trust me, when God gets entrenched in here, they know there's no point. It's done. They can't have you anymore. They can't, there's nothing they can do. Because even if you give up on that relationship with God, God doesn't give up on you. Well, first of all, God will never give up on you. But it gets to the point the energy is too strong. It's too potent. So when the fusion happens, when it happens that you merge with this energy, your higher self, your spirit guide, when you merge like this, your ancestors are not necessarily your spirit guides. They're like intermediaries. It's like how Jesus described himself as like a lawyer who could go on your behalf they're making the connection. Once the connection is made and it is merged and it is solidified and you are fully in service, who can get close enough to undo a merge? The merge starts like this, like that, and then it becomes like this. It's like when something is in every cell of your body, how do you separate it? When something is in every part of your body, how do you clean it? How do you fix this issue? It cannot be. They want to block you before it turns like this. When you meet people, and these people have fused so hard with these darker entities, and you can see it. I'm talking about these upper level witch doctors and stuff like that, where it's like they're gone. I mean, like entities have taken over the vessel more than one. Like they are not driving the bus at all. In situations like that, I kind of look at it and I'm like, it's almost like having a parasite on you. Like if it fell off, would they even survive it? Especially if they've been living like that for a while. Like would they be able to actually survive? And the entity's gonna have to come off, because the entity it's not going down. It's like it's not going down with you like that. It's like people need to understand that about these like it's not going down with you like that. It will come off eventually, and it leaves you a shell, like a deflated version of yourself to think about and to deal with the consequences of everything that it encouraged you to do, that you guys did together. But when this entity is on you, when this entity takes a hold on a person like that, that person becomes the entity. They walk in the vibration of it. Whatever you serve, good or bad, that is what you become. So this is what happens, is that these people, they worship these things. They worship these energies. And then they get to the point where their behavior, the things that they pay attention to, the things that they remain committed to, the cycles that they end up in, everything that happens, it's like the entity's driving the bus. The entity's first. They're in the background crying, scared, weeping. And a lot of times it's like, I've met a couple of them like that. They're in the background. I've met some of them that they're not even in the background. I've met some of them that they are so completely like gone. I didn't see anybody behind their eyes. Like, it's like other people are walking, like they let it get bad. Other people are walking in these people's vessels. It's like there's nothing behind their eyes. I've met multiple people like that. And you don't need to be psychic to know. Like you as a person, I'm shocked that the people around them don't know that. I'm shocked. Like, if the people around them don't see something changed in them, I don't know what to say. But anyway, so, prayer. Prayer is how you invoke your ancestors with the sound of your voice, literally with your voice. Your voice will command. And I really do mean that in every way possible. Like, the same way you can call on your ancestors with your voice, the same way you can cast out demons, it's your voice. It's always your voice. It is always because that is the permission. That is how you grant spirit permission to come into your life, to assist you, to protect you. It's with the prayer. It's with your voice. So this is how you call them in, you invoke them. And whether it is you crying to them, whether it is you using your voice to tell them what needs to happen, what is going to happen, whether it is with you casting out these dark energies from your home, from your life, it is all with your voice. All of it, and you have to learn to use your voice. The tone of your voice, the authority in your voice, all of it, this is how you move mountains in your life, is with your voice. It is something that you must learn. These relationships, they take time to cultivate. You need to be familiar with energies. Energies need to be familiar with you. It doesn't matter that they know you on a soul level. There are so many circumstances right now. You need to be, it takes time to build these kind of very, very close relationships that you're going to need moving forward. Do not rush relationships with spirit. Spirit doesn't rush either way. Spirit does not rush. And it's important to understand that the relationships that are rushed are relationships that are not good for you. Those are the relationships that are not good for you, because if you stop to think about it, you would realize that something's wrong with it. When it comes to your spirit guides and your ancestors, you need to take time. You need to let them know that they can trust you. You need to let them see your consistency, that you're going to continue to come in prayer. You need to let them see you rise above challenges so they know they can trust that you're going to be there. You need to let them see that you're obedient. You need to assure them. I assure my spirit guides all the time. I'm like, listen, when I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I might not be happy about it. You guys got to cut me some slack. Some of this stuff I'm not going to be happy about. I'm going to grumble a little bit. I'm going to complain because I got to let it out. I got to let some of the steam out. But if I gave you my word, I gave you my word. And I demonstrate that to them at every opportunity, that when I give you my word, I give you my word. It will be done. It's as good as done. If I say that I'm going to follow you, that I'm going to be obedient, I mean it. You got to talk to them like that and let them know, give them the confidence. Just because it is a spirit does not mean it's not like a consciousness. It's a relationship. The same way you would have a human relationship, it is the same thing. You got to assure spirit, like, you told me not to give up, and it doesn't matter what it looks like. If I have a bad day, whatever, don't worry, don't panic. I'm here. I'm going to continue. There's nothing that's going to stop this. And it's the same assurance in your relationship with spirit, when you have to say to spirit, and you don't have to, but I did, because you can feel, when you get close to spirit, you guys communicate with feelings, with energy. So you feel their vibration when they're nervous of something you're doing. They're nervous you might give up. They're nervous of this. They're nervous of that. And so when it comes to spirit, I also let them know, like, look, there's nothing that's going to divide this relationship. There's nothing that's going to separate us. I know you're not going to give up on me, so I'm letting you know that I have no reason to give up on you. It's not contingent on any circumstances. So if we have to walk a particular path and for a period of time, we're going to be in unfavorable conditions, I know this is just the route that we have to take because we got to go a little faster. That's okay. I'll still be here. I'm not going to blame you for the actions of others. I'm not gonna blame you because you're fighting tooth and nail and these energies. I go in the spirit and I'm like, hey, don't, I feel your energy that you're sad because I'm sad. So like, don't worry about it. I just gotta purge this. It's fine. Your spirits are sharing your vessel, so they feel whatever you feel. That's why they fight so hard to make you happy, so you guys can be closer. They feel what you feel what they feel. It's a relationship. It's like, you cannot tell me, well, I don't know, everybody's different, but it's like being in a relationship with someone and you don't know what this person's feeling, how they're feeling about you, if they're bothered, if things are worrying them. Some people, maybe you might not say something, maybe you might be in denial, but you know that something is not right. You can tell when someone's about to divorce you or when they've checked out. Like, you can, it's energy. It's an energy exchange constantly, your constant communication. In the beginning of this, I used to think that I have to be in prayer to talk to spirit. And I realized that I'm in constant communication all day, all the time. They're just quiet sometimes. They're just relaxing. They're in the background, or they might just be enjoying whatever it is that I'm doing or letting me do my work or whatever. And the minute that I start up with them, they're like ready to go. It's like, I don't have to do anything special or go out of my way. I don't have to get on my knees. I don't have to go in this formal prayer. It's like they're always there. I'm grateful for that. Constant communication. These relationships take a lot of cultivation. I am not above praying more than once for the night. I am not above going back in, because this is an enjoyable place to be, because prayer is not just like the formal way. And when I catch myself doing formal prayers, I cut myself off and I'm like, that's not my way. That's not my way. I remember seeing somebody pray and I thought to myself, my goodness, I want to pray like that. There was this spiritual person that was praying, and I've tried before, but I want to try to describe the way this person prays. This person prays in such a way where you can tell by the way that he talks to the spirit that he's been doing it for a while, but how do I explain it? He talks to the spirit like, I cannot explain it. Okay, let me give an example to explain it. African cultures, they have this different idea when it comes to marriage. The marriage is different. So it's almost like they see the marriage as like just a partnership. It doesn't necessarily need to have love right away, but it needs to have like positioning. So it's like this concern in such a way. I'm not saying all marriages like that. I'm not saying modern African marriages are like that, but I'm saying it's almost like, it's like the way how, it's like in order to get something, you give something, right? So this is a situation where your husband might have multiple wives, and you'll see the behavior of different wives depending on when they came into the situation. So some people, it's like they describe, your first wife is for this, your second wife is for this, whatever. So the first wife has an air of authority. She was there first, and she behaves a particular way. And then you'll get to like the second wife might be because she's beat down on, so she might be more timid. But then the third and fourth wives that come in, they behave a little bit different. Like the last wife might be more for enjoyment, so she might get away with murder. But typically it's like, and I could be completely, like anybody who that's their culture, they can say that I'm wrong. But I'm saying from observation, from what I've seen from social media, like not following pages in North America, like actually following pages like of people that live there. And it's like, it's almost like this air of like, there always comes that one wife that takes over and she rises above the other wives, no matter what her position is, because of the way she behaves. First of all, she comes in and she doesn't cause confusion with the other wives. She comes in peace. She makes friends with all the other wives. She's that one wife that is cool with all the rest. She stays out of the drama. She's the one that he takes the most pictures. It's like if you saw his social media, you'd think that he only has one wife, not knowing he has multiple. Like, and I'm speaking about a specific situation here too. So this particular wife, it's like her mother was the one that arranged the marriage when she was 18, but you could see the mother groom this girl in a particular way. They trained her. So this girl, the way she talks, she's very interested in his work. She's the only one that you will ever see show up to work functions. She cares about what he's doing. She will put support for his endeavors. She'll market him. She'll champion everything he does. She shows visuals online of giving him respect, giving him affection, giving him a place that he would like to occupy. Do you understand what I'm saying? A man already married her, but now she's giving him, I can only say it the way we say it in my country, but it's like she's giving him the taste to do things. He would have already done these things anyways, but she's giving him the sensation, the desire to do it. So it's like the other wives might need something, they might have to ask, you might even forget. But with this one, it's like you keep asking, like you're gonna ask her, what do you want? What do you want? Because she just did the last 6 months of things and she's not asking, she's like, what do you want? I want to give you. Like it's like people that give you the desire. And the way she behaves with this guy, she embraces all his kids. Like she's the only one you'll see on the private jet with all the kids. The other ones, if you see them, they only have their children. She has all of them. She involves them. She makes videos with them. Now, you can see from this girl, whether this is her real nature or not, it doesn't matter. You just respect what you see because you see respect. You see support. You see, it's like, first of all, this girl married this guy. He was in like his 60s. She was like 18, but she doesn't show disgust in this marriage. She doesn't, I mean, the rest of us looking at it are like, wow. I mean, I'm speaking for myself. I'm looking at it, I'm like, wow. Shocking to see someone this mature at that age. Because at that age, like for me, my mind was very immature. I couldn't probably see it for myself. So she's obviously been groomed very well. This is a strategic marriage. It's a political marriage. And her mom's arranged it. And you could see there's a lot of coaching. This is the difference. Like, let's relate that whole situation to you. You are the 18-year-old. The Most High is the husband. That's your future. That is your abundance. And your mother is your ancestor. Her mother is your ancestor. They're talking to you before you get here. We're going to make this introduction with your husband. This is your future. This person's going to run for prime minister or president one day. This is how our generation will be uplifted. This is your job. Now, there are going to be undesirable parts of this. There's going to be other wives. There's going to be children that are going to be practically your age. These people, you're coming in a situation, these people have been fighting. This guy's a billionaire. Everybody wants to be on top. This is the strategy that we're going in here with. This is how we're going to handle this. Be respectful. Take your time. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever they tell you. So you're coming in the spirit. You're just waking up. I see people online talk about their spiritual journey, disrespecting ancestors, telling ancestors it's their life, they're the one living, so they want to make the decisions. So it's like they want to drive the bus and ancestors give suggestions. An ancestor is an elder. These are North Americans, how they think. These are North Americans. North Americans say things like this. Like they don't understand the formality of respect. They don't understand the basic structure of relationships. It could be a relationship with an older sibling, a parent, a husband, a wife, or whatever. Like there's certain ways that you must behave, that a person enjoys their duty towards you, that a person finds it to be a pleasure. You ask somebody to do something for you and they will do it in two different ways. The way that they didn't want to do it, it will get done. But you will feel, they will make you feel that they didn't want to be there and they didn't want to get it done. And then there will be another person who may get it done not even as great, but you're so happy. They make you feel so good about the fact that like they can't do better. There's nothing like, and this is the relationship. Spirit cannot take you out of the gang stalking at this minute right now because you gotta be here, but you gotta understand you can't be disrespectful in the relationship, giving up. There's a way to ask why. There's a way to say you're confused. Offer up patience, take your time, walk through, give them that little grace, give them that faith, take your time. There is a way to go about it. So the way this guy goes into the spirit to pray is like a young wife. That's the only way that I can describe it. It's like, it's the energy he gives the spirit, is saying to the spirit like, Africans have a way that they greet people that they have respect for. Like they'll call, I'm thinking of Nigerians specifically, like they'll call each other like chairman or president, or it's like they physically bow to each other, giving that respect. Like they go out of their way to show, I recognize your position, I recognize your authority. So any day they come on their knees and they beg for something, this person already says in their heart, the heart is already open. They don't know what the request is, but it's already half a yes. If it's gonna be a no, it's gonna be a barrier that makes it a no. It's not just a no. This is whether it's genuine love or not does not matter. It doesn't work that way, because love works when you give it. This is something people need to continue to understand. Love works as you give the love. The love returns. You give the respect returns. You give the loyalty returns. Everybody who comes with their hand out, demanding, forcing, pushing, it doesn't work. It doesn't even feel good to do it, much less to be on the receiving end. It's like when you go in the spirit and you pray and you give spirit this compassion that is not really dependent on what spirit has given you or how things have turned out. It's not dependent on any of that. It's just love and compassion, and the respect remains always. The obedience is always there. The explanation, the assurance that you're going to do your part. I am not a wasted effort. This effort you're putting in me, it will pay you dividends. What do you need from me? The very beginning, when I saw spirit was stepping in for me, I'm like, what do you need? Tell me what you need. It just so worked out that every single thing, this is why I tell you, when it is written, it is written. The spirit has not asked or forced a single thing. I have offered everything naturally, because relationships built on reciprocity, give and take. Relationships built on give and take, you have to ask, are you happy with how I'm behaving? Can I give you more? Did you like the offering? Did you like what I gave you? Can I do better? What do you need? And then keeping your word when you say you're gonna do something, when you get a feeling that they want something, they want you to do something. I've not always been happy about all of, trust me, this is a hard journey. Haven't been happy about all of it, but it's made me happy to know that what I'm doing is making a difference to my spirit guys. It's not a one-side relationship where it's like they're only doing for me, or things are I'm only taking. This is a double thing. This is both ways. So this is how I would recommend with your prayers. of building a relationship is almost like having the attitude, not almost, very much having the attitude of the young wife, the younger one, the youngest one, the youngest spirit. Not to say that your consciousness is not older, but having the awareness that you are reliant. You are reliant. You need assistance. It is co-creation. It's two energies creating together. But at the same time, you can't go in there with like an attitude, because there are those that they enjoy blessing. They will bless whoever is deserving, but there are those that they enjoy blessing. It's only natural. This one is humble. This one is obedient. This one's loyal. And this is how you have to bring yourself. But this person who was praying, I could not understand what language they were speaking. I don't know what they were saying, but I could feel what they were saying. I could feel this energy of first stepping up to spirit with respect and telling spirit how amazing they are. And that's the best thing that I could, like, the best way I can describe it. It's like just telling the spirit how honored and respected the spirit is. Not just by this person, but in general. It's like recognizing first and foremost the greatness of spirit and stepping into a sacred space. It's like going into a castle and kneeling before a king and not telling the king like how amazing they are. You read old books and you'll see already how you're supposed to treat people that you respect. You step into their presence and you're already singing their praises of like, you know, he who has conquered many lands, he who has done this, he who, like, this is just how you come in formally without even doing anything. And you could tell that the way this person was praying, it's like this is the way this person was presenting to the spirit, is just insane respect. So once you start like that and spirit becomes, now I have to say this because if I don't say it, these vibrate, spirit communicates in energy. It's not pretending. It's not rumbling something out that you don't mean. It's like spirit deals with energy. Spirit is gonna, you know how it is when you pray, they'll sleep. They'll just go to sleep on you. They'll sleep. They'll be asleep. The spirit will be asleep while you're praying. It's not like they're not hearing. They're not hearing and they're not listening. When spirits love you, they're attentive. They're looking at you. They're quiet. They're not interrupting. They're letting you speak. And different spirits are different. Some spirits don't have many words. They say what they mean what they say, they're direct and to the point. Some spirits they will make you feel it. Some spirits, no matter how stern they are, they're stern with you. But no matter how stern they are, they're the most loving spirit of all. Because it's like, they really, it's like, you know, that's how my mother is. Like, she's to the point, she's direct, but it's because she really holds everything to a very high standard. And she wants the best of you, of like, it's not enough to get it done. It must be done in a very specific way, or she'll make you redo the whole thing. And it's like, but she's so loving, she's so compassionate. And if I'm upset, I'll wake up and I know that she was upset all night. I went to sleep upset. So it's like, I can't let her be upset. I get upset if I hurt her. So it's like, you have to build up this relationship that you're going to have with your spirit guides, with your energies, yourself. And from this place of really bowing down to spirit, taking care of spirit, taking care of your relationship, coming in with the best that you have, best foot forward, Like they say, it's like you're the bride of Christ. This is not about gender. This is not about like that. But it's about the role. The role of a father or a mother or a protector or a guide. So it's like once you start off your relationship cultivating like this, you can move into the role of spiritual warrior, because your relationship becomes so familiar and so comfortable, it relaxes over time. Whereas it started very formal, very pensive, not on the spirit side necessarily, because the spirit knows you, the energy knows you, knows your soul. It's been with you the entire time. It's been waiting for you to catch up. But once it comes to your time, over time, and it becomes more relaxed, you guys can anticipate, well, you can anticipate the spirit already knows what everything that is going to happen. They know on the minute, on the second, what is going to happen. Once it comes to that point, now you can really invoke spirits the way you want to, in a way that is both respectful but commanding, because it's with your energy that you're pushing it in. You are reaching into the spirit and bringing something in the physical. It is with your voice. It is with your conviction. It is with your passion. It is with your commitment. The confidence comes from the relationship being so strong. So as you're going through battles, it's not about being worried about first of all, you already know the strength of the spirits that you're working with already. So that is without question. But it is now understanding how bringing all of the elements of this relationship together. So now you go from the new wife who is establishing her position in the hierarchy with everybody else and finding your place, to the wife who has established her place and knows with what temperament to do. She knows how to go around and get her way around this thing. She knows her position with her husband, so she knows how to approach to get it done where it's a yes. She knows how to come here and get things done. She knows how to communicate that something is urgent. She knows how to communicate that this is very important. And just because she knows her position, she knows her influence, doesn't mean she comes disrespectfully, demanding, forcefully. She might still come and say, "My lordship, I really need your help." But she knows in what way to go around the situation to achieve and accomplish what needs to be done. Spiritual warriors know, first of all, when you're called, you show up without hesitation. That's how spirits are. That's how angels are. When they are called, they show up immediately without hesitation. They just need to hear exactly what it is that is needed. They show up. They don't back down. They don't cower. There is no fear. They go into anything regardless of how tough it is. This is the point at which I'm at. I'm at the point with my spiritual journey where nobody wants to fight. Nobody's gonna start fights because fights are draining. But if it is a fight, I don't have any feelings, good or bad, towards fighting spiritually. It's not like I'm just gonna be like, oh no, let's find resolution, or like, listen, no, I don't care. I don't care. I think, I knew people like that growing up, that this is one person you like, don't fake like you're gonna fight. They'll really fight you. This person is a person who's gonna punch you first, and they're gonna keep this is not a person you wanna fight with. There are people that are like that physically, that they don't care if they get beat up in the fight. It's not about winning, losing. It's none of that. It's just like they're used to fighting. So they just fight. Who's like that? There's this rapper, Christian Rock. She is that girl that at any given moment she could fight. Another one, Jocelyn Hernandez. She says that she goes places ready to fight, prepared to fight. I remember I was watching this, and when she said that, I laughed. Like, we laughed in the room because it was like, what? She goes everywhere prepared to fight. That's what she said. This is a person who doesn't hesitate. I'm like that spiritually. I
I don't hesitate. I don't care. It's like, because right is right and wrong is wrong. Simple as that. Like for me, things have gotten black and white. It's like I see things the way spirit sees things. Spirit does not, spirits do not see things from like a negotiating standpoint. Well, I had to gang stalk them because if I didn't gang stalk them, I would be gang stalked. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The results of you gang stalking someone is all kinds of things. All kinds of things can happen from your cowardice. That's your issue. Doesn't matter. Oh, but I didn't want to, but they were, doesn't matter. This is not how it works. When you're a spiritual warrior, this is not how it works. You don't come here to be negotiator. You don't come here to use your own mind. You don't come here for it to make sense to you. It's not about that. When you're sent in, you have something to do. When God says this is where we're going to be, this is who we're going to do it with, this is how it's going to be done, that's it. It's like, sure, no problem. It's not about, oh, I didn't feel like doing it. Of course, you're going to have that internal thing with yourself, depending on who it is. I'm not above being like, God, are you sure? Like, are you sure like this? This is the way we have to do it. I have, respectfully, of course, but when God makes it clear, God makes it clear. It is what it is. I'm not here to negotiate. I don't know enough. I don't have enough information. I can only see what's in front of me. They know the information. I'm even at a point with it where I'm like, don't tell me. Don't even tell me. I don't need to know the full details. You don't need to negotiate it with me. You don't need to convince me. You don't need to tell me, don't worry, you'll be good. Don't even tell me the reasoning behind it. It's all good. Just let me know what I got to do and where I got to be. And that's it. Because I've seen the results of I've seen what these entities can do to people's lives. I've seen what, when they come in, they take one step and then they try to take over. And once they take over, it's hell on earth to get them back. And it's like, you gotta establish very early with these boundaries, with these entities. You gotta make sure that they understand. Like, for example, me coming on here every single day, they want to fight. I don't know how somebody finds this much energy every day to fight, not to come up. It's like, listen, they're going to understand that every day it's going to get done one way or the other. I want you to lose hope. They want you to lose hope so that you will be like, oh, it's not affecting, it's not helping anyone. No one's getting anything from my messages. Doesn't matter. I didn't come here to qualify how many people are getting help from my messages and all of that. I was told to come, and that is it. God knows the bigger plan. And you got to really walk in this faith of God knowing the biggest plan. Spiritual warriors are demonic, and a demonic entity's worst nightmare. Because spiritual warriors are strong in spirit. They can withstand abuse that other people would run from. Spiritual warriors know that, these entities know that spiritual warriors are like Job in the Bible. They can withstand losing everything. The loyalty that they have to God is unspeakable. They know that they could take everything from you, everyone from you, and you're going to show up here with a smile because God put it on your face. And everybody's going to say, what the hell is there for you to be happy about? They haven't felt the love of God. That's why they say stuff like that. They just haven't felt it. They haven't felt that peace. They haven't felt that relaxation. They haven't felt that calm. So they can say whatever they want to say. These entities also know that spiritual warriors are not going to hesitate to come after them. People who come in the spirit, who pray, are already prepared for rockiness. They're already prepared to endure. It's like they are selfless. They're not afraid to pass away in this battle. When they say people are of high honor, this is what they mean. They mean people God can depend on. God doesn't have to micromanage you. God doesn't have to hover over you the whole time. God can give you some rope, let you do your thing, let you get it done when you're going the wrong way. And with the time of the relationship, as you go there, oh, no, 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 don't do that way. Oh, no, 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 do that way. Walk this way, do it this way. I like it this way. They know that you're going to stay within the lines, but you're going to get it done. And that they can develop you, they can grow you over time. And even in that relationship, you talk to them like, listen, this one's hard. I'm going to need a little bit of time to get used to it, but it will happen over time. You will get there. Everybody loves somebody they can depend on. Everybody loves somebody who they do not need to question your motives, your loyalty. A wind blows this way. Now you're all upset, you can't do it anymore. A wind blows that way, a little thing happens this way, and everything is an issue. It's like too much babysitting on the way. Babysitting is going to happen in the beginning, but at some time we gotta mature. You gotta mature because God is developing you for something specific. In order to have that, you gotta do the work. You gotta stand up. You gotta grow spiritually from a spiritual baby all the way and keep going. It is important. And the growth is forever is what I've realized. It's not like you get to a point where you're like, oh my God, I'm good at this or that or the third and I can relax. It is forever. There is more to learn all the time. Spiritual warriors have a proximity to God that is terrifying to these entities. Spiritual warriors have a proximity where they know God is real. They don't have to imagine it. They don't need anybody to tell them what God said, how God felt. And so, I think it's an honor. Once you get over the part of it where you're like, oh my goodness, this is craziness. What is going on here? Once you get over the initial shock, once you learn to endure, once you get to the point where you can keep going without stopping, once you get to the point where you know you'll be fine, once you get to the point where you accept that there's going to be pain, then you kind of don't care one way or the other. You don't care. It just is what it is. It's life. So you do tend to walk around with that air about you where people know like how you are. People understand your loyalty to God is, I don't know. I don't know if what people think of how my relationship with the people who know, I don't know what they think of my relationship with God. I assume they know that this commitment is unshakable. I'm just going to say it. This is a commitment. This is a commitment. This is a marriage. The fusion is done. It is complete. There is no separating, etc., etc., etc. Very committed. And it becomes a commitment that has to do with what we're trying to accomplish here and not so much my life. It's not really about my life and what I want my life to be. It is, what are we accomplishing together? What is the mission? Their mission is my mission. Their problems are my problems. Their grievances are my grievances. Their enemies are my enemies. It's that simple. Soldier. It's not, I don't need to think too much about it. I don't need to think about it at all. So when they have an issue or there's an issue presented and they need me here in the physical to do something, as they are in the spirit, cannot handle it from the spirit, I am the liaison on earth that they need to handle it. It would make sense to not be making the job difficult. Just get it done to the best, the best that it can be done. In whatever way that is, not to say that I'm not going to make mistakes. This relationship is not a relationship that ends because of mistakes. We grow, we groom, we do better next time. But co-creation is two. One in the spirit, one here on earth. As I explained, that's why you lose an ancestor. You gain an ancestor that you are familiar with. You are familiar with them in the spirit, in the flesh, and then you gain them as an ancestor in the spirit to be able to walk your spiritual path. So this is how this connection comes together. This is how this connection comes together. So this is what the spiritual warfare path is. It is an assignment over your life where you are, I joke about it like an elite employee, but you're like an elite employee in a sense where you're God's right-hand man that they come to, they need something done, whatever it is, they come to you with the tough jobs because you're the one that can handle it. You're the one that has been proven to be able to handle it. You're the one that maintains the commitments. You're the one that carries it out. You're the one that doesn't complain. You're the strong one. So whatever it is that's needed, they know they can depend on you to get it done and get it done well and be a representation of what this is that we're doing here, what spirit is doing here. It's like with your life, with your commitment, with your love, you're showing people how this is done, how you love spirit, how you serve in the spirit, how you remain committed, how you never give up. This is your job here, to just be. With your existence, you help other people, you open doors, and you leave the rest to God. And in the beginning, it is difficult, but it becomes a pleasure and an honor to be called to do anything at all. So put it this way, I'm at the point where if I really want something to be done, I gotta promise God I'm gonna do it. Because if I promise myself, it's not that I'm a very determined person. I'm very like, it's not about that. It's just that I know if I promise God, it is 100% good as done. Because I would rather not be alive than disappoint God. Like, it's just not gonna happen. So it's like, if there's something I need to happen, I promise God that I'm gonna do it. And it's self-directed. If there's something where it's like, God asked it of me, I know it's gonna get done. But if there's something where it's like, oh, I'm gonna be lackadaisical about it, then it's like, I might not promise it to God because then I really am gonna have to do it. But that is my message for today. I'm gonna go into more about spiritual warfare because it's very important. I think maybe talk about how prayers of spiritual warfare go down. You're fighting persistent enemies that don't give up. That means that is what and who you have to be: persistent. You gotta be tiring people out, because one thing's for sure and two things for certain. They already know with me that I'm not giving up anything. They already know I'm not giving up my life. They know I'm not joining. They know that. I can feel their energy. It's like, but you gotta do something. You can't let the other ones see. This is too loud. We gotta look like we're doing something about this. We can't just... Do you think they really think that I'm coming on board? They're so sick of me. They're so tired of me. They're wishing like something would just happen so I wouldn't have to deal with this problem anymore. This is how you address your problems. You be the problem in the situation. You gotta be a bigger problem than your problem. You gotta be a bigger problem than your problem. So thank you for listening in with the message. I'm gonna read my spirit messages card. I definitely have to come back to the spiritual warfare conversation because it's a long conversation. It's a continuing conversation. If you are being gang stalked and you have to walk through, then you gotta be a spiritual warrior. Like, you really have to be able to fight in the spirit. Put up with zero. Give them zero room. Everything is a prayer. Everything is a petition. Everything is going in the spirit. Everything is telling God. In the beginning, it's like, in the beginning of this journey, every little thing I was in the spirit telling God. I was one of those kids that like they're gonna tell their parents everything. Because first of all, I tell God everything anyways, whether or not God knows, I didn't care. It's like I go gossip in the spirit with God, like, did you know what happened, and blah blah blah, and can you believe this, and can you believe that. So as soon as something was wrong, I was like, oh, I'm telling my mother on you. Oh, nope, gotta tell my mother about this. Nope, I don't want to put up with it. Nope, I don't. It's like this habit of always, so it's like, it's like one of those kids where if you bother them, they're gonna go tell their parents. They are going to tell their parents, and their parents are gonna swoop in like that. So it's like, this is how you gotta be. When people say, God is my father, God is my mother, like they really treat it like, you gotta stay away from people hurting people like that. They really mean it. How do you behave with a father? You're gonna run to them and tell them everything. How do fathers behave? Protective, aggressive. So you have to develop that attitude. Well, I'll continue the conversation. These cards came up. I have these cards with these quotes. They're my botanical cards. And I'm going to read them because I loved what they said. The first one says victory and conquest. It says, he who controls others may be powerful, but he who has mastered himself is mightier still. And this is a quote by Lao Tzu. And for some reason, I feel like Lao Tzu is some sort of like warrior person, or like somebody who had to do with like fighting. I don't know why, but I get that sense. I'm going to look it up later. Self-mastery during this process cannot be avoided. In order to do this job, you got to master yourself. This other card says delicate, fleeting beauty. When life is not coming up roses, look to the weeds and find the beauty hidden within them. You gotta make peace with the situation. Things are not working, you gotta continue finding another way. I've gotten to the point where so many things have just not worked. I'm used to it now. I know they're gonna bother me in some way. I know they're strategizing about something, and I don't care. It is what it is. I do not care anymore. The spirit messages cards that came out, there's 3. I want to read all 3 because I like all 3. It says, where you are right now is where you are supposed to be. Don't compare yourself to others. That only adds pressure. Take each day as it comes and for what it is. You are a better person than you were yesterday. Growth isn't easy, but you've got this. The second one says, trust the wait. You're being prepared for your blessings. In order to receive, you have to be ready to receive. Things you are going through now are not random. Trust the flow of the universe. That one is for me personally. I definitely have to trust the wait, but it is what it is. Once you make peace with it, it becomes easier. And the last one says, be clear about where you are putting your focus right now. Focus on your desired outcome. You have everything within to create the life of your dreams. Stop doubting yourself for once. This is your time. We've got you. All very encouraging. I hope people take this like to heart and as true encouragement, because this life is not easy. This part of the journey is challenging. The crystal of the day is Rutilated Quartz or angel hair, and it's the crystal for vibrational healing. And this is what an angel hair crystal looks like. It looks like a citrine crystal, but it's a quartz, and it has like little, I guess, slithers in it that make it look like hair. This is a high vibrational crystal for energy integration. It's a perfect balance of cosmic light and grounded energy. It illuminates the soul, promoting spiritual growth. It draws off karmic dis-ease and reframes events still affecting the present. The crystal assists reframing an event is basically looking at it from a different perspective. The crystal assists out of body journeying, scrying. Scrying is like spiritually spying, like being psychically spying, or digging into things spiritually. And channeling. Channeling is when spirits speak through you. They use you, your vessel, your mouth to speak through you. Out of body journeying is like astral projection, basically, and contacting spiritual guidance. Its rutile content draws off negative energy, releasing the past and cleansing the aura. Protecting against psychic attack and ideal for therapists or counselors, Rutilated quartz filters negative energy from a client, supporting their energy field during emotional release and confrontations with darker aspects of the psyche. On the body, it deals with impotence. On the body, it deals with impotence, infertility, respiratory tract, bronchitis, cellular repair. And in the mind, it soothes bad moods, overcomes depressions, fears, phobias, and anxiety. So if this speaks to you, I would get this. If you're a person with spiritual gifts and you want to develop them, any of these sort of crystals are a good idea. I swear to God, I feel like it makes a huge difference, but that's just me. Thank you for hanging in there for my message. It was a little bit long today, and that is okay. I definitely thank anybody who is gonna stick through a message this long, but I really needed to say it, and yesterday I just didn't want to cut it short. I wanted to give the message the full energy and effort that it deserved to really paint the picture well. If you have to rewatch this live, that is something that you might just want to do to catch the full thing. I thank you guys for hanging in there with me, and have a wonderful day. And remember that Mother loves you. Good night.